Today at Commander Replay, it's an absolute war of attrition as Syr Gwyn takes on Horde of Notions, Kangee Airy Keeper, and Mathas Fiend Seeker. Who will win in this battle where there can be no winners? Find out next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have two new Patreon supporters in Joshua Mitchner and Justin R. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link as it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. Well, welcome back everyone, playing some Syr Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale today, and today's deck list comes to us from my podcast co-host Kristen. I was feeling a little bit gun-shy after the absolute rout that happened to me in the last game that I played with my Syr Gwyn deck. So I thought I would take a look at her deck list, see what kind of things are going on there, maybe incorporate some new ideas, that sort of thing. Taking a look at this opening hand, it's pretty risky. 2 lands, Strand Dynamo, no way to draw. Wild Ricochet is kind of more of a late game thing. Think I'm gonna mulligan that. Oh, it's so much worse. 3 lands? Is it possible to get a 3-land hand? Alright, mulligan to 6. Hope it gets better. 3 lands, Feast and Famine. Okay, Signet. Yeah, that's gonna work so much better. We giving up on the removal? Giving up on the removal. We'll hope to draw into more later. There's some Trailblazers boots. Play the Plains. Pass the turn. If there was ever a deck for Arcane Signet, this one is it. This deck is pretty tough on the color requirements. So you have 3 colors in Syr Gwyn, which is not always a picnic, especially when you've got utility lands like these. It's a problem that I've run into in my decks in the past, and is potentially a reason to run all of the available Signets and Chromatic Lantern, because colors do matter. And then with the Knights, we don't see it here with Sylvia, but with a lot of the other Knights, there's a lot of double white. So there's just a lot of color requirements in this deck, and colors can get pretty rough. So I don't run Arcane Signet in most of the decks that I play. Mostly is kind of like, I'm kind of annoyed about how they released Arcane Signet into, you know, a state where the cost is like artificially inflated because they released it in such a small print run, when it's very obvious that it's a thing that like most people need or want. So yeah, for that reason, I typically don't run it, just because, you know, a little annoyed about it. I know that, like, paper prices don't translate to Magic Online, but to some degree, when you're just like, it's a $20 Signet, there's just a part of me that, like, makes it hard to justify putting that into a deck that's less than 3 colors, especially. Because I know for me, in paper, I'm not spending $20 on a Signet. That's not a thing that's happening. Other stuff, maybe. But, for that matter, I also own 0 Fabled Passages. Brings it back to our turn. There's a Leonin Shikari. Cool. Let's get the Rogue's Passage into play. Play the Signet. And we'll tap out and pass. So once again, we are playing Syr Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale. Vigilance Menace. Whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, draw a card and lose a life. Equipment you control have equipped Knight 0. So free equips for our Knights. Yeah. Syr Gwyn, a pretty cool commander. I talked about it a little bit before. I think they overcosted it by 1. I think 6 was a little bit too much mana, especially when you compare Syr Gwyn to, like, Chulane, which should probably be at least 1 more mana. Definitely feel like they flip-flopped those. Arcane Signet for our opponent. Yep. And Kangee's gonna Enlighten Tutor at the end step. Also, Fish Said Fish did Basic Land Cycle and Ancient Excavation. But anyway, yeah, the free equip ability is pretty cool. I do think they overcosted this card just a teeny bit. Especially now that there are, like, other non-legendary creatures that you can use to free equip. You've got Fervent Champion, Pure Still Paladin, and Kazul's Toll Collector. And it is nice to have those in your equipment decks, being able to just pick up all the equipments. Also, Armory Automaton is a card. I've kind of shifted away from that one a little bit. It does get awkward with some of the on-attack triggers. You will miss those periodically, but still not a bad card by any means, so certainly okay to run in any Voltron deck that you might have, but nope, that does bring it back to our turn. I'll finish this thought in a second. So play the Buried Ruin. What are we on? We're on 4 mana? I guess it's Sylvia time. Oh, it's going to be awkward if we don't make this next land drop. We will partner and grab Korvath. Get Korvath. Korvath into hand. Nothing else going on. Pass the turn. So anyway, yeah, some of my thoughts on Syr Gwyn. I've played it a bunch. I haven't played it so much recently. I pulled my paper 1 apart to rebuild my Aurelia Weapons of War deck. Only have 1 copy of Fire and Ice. I have like 2 to 3 Stoneforge Mystics, but those seem to go in every deck that I have anyway. So anyway, yeah, some of the more expensive equipment I only have 1 copy of, Hammer of Nazan, stuff like that. So Syr Gwyn is a pretty cool Voltron commander. One of the real challenges in this deck is Well, there's a couple, I guess. Getting the balance of equipments and creatures right, I think, is one of probably the biggest challenges for the deck. I was playing a pretty low creature count, so I was really looking to go on the full Voltron thing. My creature count was like 12 or 13. Kristen's is much higher. Hers is about 16 when I looked. Yeah, about 16. Maybe I might have missed one when I was updating the deck. Her most recent build of the deck came from a screenshot, not from a tapped out list. So anyway, she's around 16 or 17, which is about what my Aurelia deck is running right now. I think my Aurelia deck's on 17, though that probably needs to go up to like 19 or 20. Urza's Incubator coming into play. But I'm curious to see how the higher creature count plays out with this, because I haven't played like a 17 to 20 creature kind of deck with Syr Gwyn yet. I've played some of the Night Tribal stuff, which is like getting north of 20 creatures, 20 to 25. Wasn't in love with that build. You do need a good number of equipments in this deck to really make it work, and just getting that balance right is a trick. It is tough. Having a third color compared to Boros does make things just a little bit more muddled. A question I've also had is like, how many black tutors should you run? How many black card draw spells should you run? And it's just, there's a lot of little things to kind of work your way through, and, there's definitely more than one way to build this deck. Anyway, that brings us back to our turn. There's an Inventor's Fair. That's that land we were looking for. So let's do broken Feast and Famine things. Cast this Feast and Famine. Equip this Feast and Famine. Who are we picking a fight with? The Mathas player said that they are on Kill Stuff Tribal, which makes me not the happiest, so let's take a shot over there, see if this gets in. They do have some open mana, so like under a lot of circumstances, I probably just go at Fish because of no open mana. Okay, there's the Swords of Plowshares. Yeah, let's get that out of the way early. Gain 4 life, up to 44. Does make me a little bit sad. Anyway, so the second challenge with Syr Gwyn is also just making sure you get to that mana you need. I don't think Kristen was running any Lantax Gift of Estates type stuff. Not that I'm seeing. There's one Knight of the White Orchid, which is okay, but really you want things that find multiple lands, I think, especially for this deck. That's been a problem I've noticed. Just getting the mana to cast Syr Gwyn is harder than you think. Getting to 6 quickly and on time is pretty rough sometimes. There's an Nahiri for opponent. Gonna draw and discard. Yep. Spark Trooper into the graveyard. Yeah, cool little card. Slam into things, gain a bunch of life. So take a look at what our opponents are playing, by the way. First up, we have Fish Shed Fish, piloting Horde of Notions, and this is going to be an Elemental Reanimator. I got stomped by a Horde of Notions deck last week. It wasn't a deck by Fish, it was by someone else, but yeah, Horde of Notions just took it to me. That game was posted on the channel. What did I play? I don't even remember. Oh, I was playing him on a white deck. I think it was the new Heliod, and yeah, things did not go well against Horde of Notions. A lot of value there. Once they have mana, they can just keep grabbing stuff out of the graveyard, and it's hard to deal with. You're going to need some graveyard removal. Moving on from that, next up we have PGAT-12 piloting Mathas Fiend Seeker, and they said they're playing Kill Stuff Tribal, and they did lay down a Swords on our Sylvia, which does make me sad. I was hoping to get a Feast and Famine hit right there, although we didn't have like tons to do with the Feast and Famine. We could have got like down the Trailblazers Boots and the Shikari. It's not the end of the world, but would still prefer to have my creature, especially since it has double strike. There's a Vanquisher's Banner coming in for Kangee. And finally, we've got Mockfire piloting their Kangee Airy Keeper deck. We've seen this deck a few times. Pretty cool little deck. It's going to be Bird Tribal. We have determined that Kangee does not work correctly on Magic Online, and that you can't kick it. You can't get the counters from kicking it, which does sap the power of the deck a little bit, but I think they've got ways to like get a counter on there and proliferate via that. So that, that does hurt, but still a cool commander. And anyway, that brings us back to our turn. There's a Thran Dynamo. Let's get that in. Use all these. So much colorless mana. Yeah. So it puts us on 4 mana. What can we do? We can go like Shikari. We can go Shikari, equip sword, something like that. Doesn't seem awful. And as long as there's... we just overexposed this Thran Dynamo, I think. Wheel. Hopefully Fish is going on the plus plan with Nahiri. Nope, just gonna exile our Thran Dynamo. Alright, well, they're taking a sword hit then. Yeah, definitely walked into that. I should have not tapped the Thran Dynamo. Opponent cracks the Fabled Passage. Oh, by the way, there is a one of these bounty counters on Wood Elves from the last end step. So should that die, we all get to draw a card. Muldrifter for opponent. They get to draw some cards, and then they pass. Can't get in with the Feast and Famine right now, though we have the Trailblazers Boots. Probably go that way since I expect the lands to untap. Another bounty counter on the Muldrifter. It may be worth attacking into Fish, even if we don't get the damage through, especially if we can find an untapped land off the top to get Syr Gwyn into play. I would take that card draw, assumingly they'll block, and then we'll get another card draw. That is not the worst thing I've heard of right now. Stormscape Familiar coming into play. Vanquisher's Banner will trigger. Thaumatic Compass for the birds. Ooh, yeah, that's good against our deck. Brings it back to our turn. There's a Blasphemous Act. I mean, the longer we can hold out on that, the more we'll draw off of the Mathas. What do I care more about? Yeah, we should probably just get the Trailblazer boots in, right? Yeah, I think we're just on Trailblazer's boots. I mean, part of me wants to just kill the Muldrifter and, like, draw the cards. So, equip the Trailblazer's boots. Yeah, I don't know, maybe we should just go for the card draw. Swing into fish for shooting our Thran Dynamo. Don't love that. It hits. They'll discard our lands on tap. We don't have much of a follow-up here. So I'm thinking maybe the Muldrifter was the better idea. I don't know. We'll see if Mathas starts laying down some kill spells. Gets us into the card draw. Yeah, I've only got 4 lands. Alright, can't do much. Pass turn. Opponent's going to exile our creature. That's fine. Horde of Notions into play. Yep. Fun's going to get started. Probably going to Blasphemous Act on our turn. See if we can get a few more creatures into play. A few more bounty counters on opponent's stuff would be nice. Oop, that's a Demonic Tutor. Yep, here comes Horde of Notions into us. Nope, changes their mind. Going to swing into the Mathas opponent. Here comes a Commander Sphere for the Mathas. Sure. Mathas going to go to the end step. Put a counter on the bird. Sweet. All right. And opponent's going to activate their Thaumatic Compass at the end step. I would love a Thaumatic Compass right now. Here comes Kangee into play. Yep. Vanquisher's Banner will trigger. Opponent going to swing into us with a Stormscape Familiar. Sure. We take a hit for 2. Brings back to our turn. Inventor's Fair will trigger. We'll gain a life. That's a Smothering Tithe. Very interesting. Right now, I think I'm on... Well, Nahiri's just going to shoot Smothering Tithe. So I think I'm on Blasphemous Act and draw 3 cards. Sounds like a plan. Alright, so creatures get blown up. We draw 3 cards. Ooh, and we gain 2 life. Yeah. Swiftfoot Boots. Ideally, one of these will be a land, but boots are good too. There's a path. Come on, land. And a land. Alright. There's a swamp. 1 short of the Smothering Tithe, sadly. Nope, leave that white untapped. And we'll go for the Swiftfoot Boots right here. So next turn, we cast Syr Gwyn and suit up all this cool stuff. Also, we're up to 49 life. That's pretty cool, too. Yeah. Mockfire is telling everyone that's listening right now, run Thaumatic Compass. Yeah, I am badly hurting for a Thaumatic Compass in this moment. Baleful Force. That's a card. At the beginning of each upkeep, you draw a card and lose a life. Yeah. I was talking about making that deck, making the Baleful Tribal deck the other day. Something I need to do. That's probably worth a path. See if Mathas wants to shoot it. Opponent's going to tick up with the Nahiri. Yep. Mockfire wants no part of the Baleful Force, so they're going to Swords it. I'm down for that. Yeah, by the time it comes back to them, they'll draw on, what, 4 cards? Pretty good. Best of all, we didn't have to use our removal on it. Oh, we probably need to get rid of Nahiri. Generous Gift on our Feast and Famine. Awesome. We've been eating the removal this game. Ugh. Alright, so that probably puts us on... Well, the elephant can attack Nahiri. Yeah, that probably puts us on... Still probably puts us on Syr Gwyn. But then we'll just be swinging to Nahiri and try to get the card draw. Opponent's going to activate Thaumatic Compass at the end step. Yeah. Vampiric Tutor for the Mathas. Opponent cracks Commander Sphere, draws a card. So they would have just drawn the card they tutored for. Let's find out what it is. Alhammerhet's Archive. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. Pretty good card. And a Ring of Xanthrid. This is one, gives a creature regenerate and puts a +1 counter on it if it's black. If I were running like a budget Syr Gwyn, I'd probably run that in the deck. Protection is very, very good. It'll slowly build it up. I wouldn't worry about the +1 counters so much. They're kind of a nice benefit, but being able to regenerate is a pretty big deal. Although now there are plenty of things that regenerate does not stop. A lot of Swords, Path, Reality Shift, Bounce Effects, Toxic Deluge, Mass Bounce. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it's definitely not awful either. You know, against just a traditional board wipe, it's going to be pretty handy. Blasphemous Act. There's a Teshar for opponent. Yeah, that's a bird. You can get stuff back. So when they cast a Historic spell, return target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less. They do have a Stormscape Familiar and a Light and Shadow. So that'll bring back the Stormscape Familiar. Here comes a Radiant Destiny for opponent. Yeah, getting all them tribal effects. Now they have +1/+1 and Vigilance. Brings it back to our turn. Inventor's Fair triggers. Bring us up to an even 50. Sigarda's Aid is cool. No equipments, though. Less good without equipments. I guess we're just on cast Syr Gwyn. Try to get some card draw. Free equip the Trailblazers. Free equip the Swiftfoot Boots. If I could free equip these Trailblazers to the elephant, I would, but I can't. That would get us an extra card draw. I'm going to swing into Nahiri with Syr Gwyn, and we'll send the elephant into Fish's face. We'll get to draw a card and lose a life. It's a swamp. Want to keep making those land drops. So Nahiri finally goes down, Fish at 40, play the swamp, and pass the turn. Faithless Looting for opponent. Nahiri is really interesting. I've definitely played Nahiri a bunch of times where, like, I haven't been able to exile the thing because it's not tapped. Now, it is good for getting rid of enchantments. You never know when you're going to need to do that. But as far as the 4-mana planeswalkers that are available in Boros, it's probably one of, like, the last ones I would normally pick. Now, for a Reanimator deck, it makes sense because of the draw discard, obviously. But for just, like, the average kind of aggro deck, I think I prefer Dreddy a lot of the times because it can get artifacts back out of the graveyard. That's a supreme verdict. Awesome. But yeah, like Dreddy or the mono white Nahiri is really good for equipment decks too. Chandra Torch of Defiance just has a lot of good abilities on it, so that's another one that's got to compete for that spot. And I haven't used it personally, but I've heard Nahiri Storm and Stone is all right in equipment decks as well. So just a lot of competition for that slot. Again, it's not terrible, but it's probably the one that I would pick least for most situations. You know, I guess the exception would be if you're going against an Enchantress deck and you know you just need to get rid of a lot of enchantments. Mathas Fiend coming back to play. Yep. Grave Pact. What? Opponent has no creatures that can die currently unless they send their commander to the graveyard. But yeah, that Grave Pact's going to become a problem. Should give us some room to get down the Smothering Tide, though, because Grave Pact will definitely need to die first. Opponent's going to go the end step. Mathas trigger on the Thicket Crasher. Yeah, Thicket Crasher gives other elementals you control trample. That's not awful. Skymark Rock coming into play. Opponent will get to draw a card. Commander Isha into play. Gets to draw another card. Yep. And they've got the Light and Shadow. It's going to be some pretty good recursion, I think. If they can actually survive the board for a turn. Equips the Light and Shadow to the Commander Isha. Yeah. It's now protected from creatures and white and black. It's a pretty good amount of protection, and it's a 6/8. Ooh, nice. Return to Dust on the Grave Pact and the Alhammeret's Archive. Excellent. Also means one less Return to Dust available for our Smothering Tithe, and the fact that we won't have to sacrifice everything that we play. All good stuff. So it brings back to our turn Inventor's Fair triggered as a Scavenging Grounds. Keep making those land drops. Too many utility lands, it feels like. Play the Smothering Tithe. Buried Ruin is the one we're going to need least likely right here. Don't actually know that there's a point to, like, cast the Sigarda's Aid. Probably better off just leaving up other stuff. I'd rather leave up the Path, honestly. Make sure we don't get crushed by something. Maybe an opportunity to Scavenging Ground. See how many birds are in the graveyard here. Although, elementals don't have, like, tons of things in the graveyard yet. Still looking for some of the big ones into their grave. But I don't know, we might be on Scavenger Ground. Smothering Tithe trigger on our opponent. We get a treasure. Sweet. Need that colored mana. Here comes Horde of Notions back to play. Opponent's going to send both our way. I was probably comfortable with one. Feel less comfortable with two coming our way. Yeah, I'm getting a Path on the Horde of Notions. Try to price it out of the game. If they have to spend absurd amounts of mana just to recast it, then they won't easily be able to activate it in the same turn and reanimate stuff. Also, when this dies, which it probably will, you know, now that it's got the counter on it, there's going to be some incentive to kill it from other players. We've got the Scavenger Ground to exile it. Mana Vault for opponent. Equips the ring. Shade's Form. Equipped creature has black fire breathing, and when equipped creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Okay. Potentially put that on an opposing creature, too. It's kind of interesting. Opponent's going to swing into the elementals, sure. Mathas trigger at the end step. Going to put it on the bird, sure. Smothering Tithe trigger. Opponent did, Mathas did pay for the token, so we only have one treasure currently. Mock doesn't pay, gives us a second treasure. Excellent. Ooh, opponent send him both our way. Alright, well, I'm not going to feel terrible about exiling their graveyard, then. I guess we do have the most life, but even still. There's a Light and Shadow trigger. Targeting the Teshar, yep. Yep, I see where this is going. So, activate Scavenging Grounds. Sacrifice to its own ability. Exile the graveyards. Yeah, I would have liked to have held out on this just a little bit longer, especially with the elementals, but there is a Faithless Looting that they could flash back that they're going to lose. Also, two good value creatures in Wood Elves and Muldrifter, also the Spark Trooper, you know. That can hit you for some damage. So, you know, getting rid of all that stuff will be nice, but I'm sure there's still going to be more nasty things in the elemental deck that I would have loved to held that around for. If they didn't attack me, it was going to be a real toss-up about whether I let that resolve or not. Because before that, they hadn't really caused any problems for us, so if they were going in a different direction, yeah, maybe it's fine, let him get the Teshar back. Sure, they're going to reanimate a lot of their stuff, but we've still got the board wipe, and, you know, we could eventually blow that stuff up and then exile it, but... Yep, here comes the Dovescape. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, counter that spell, create X 1/1 white blue bird tokens. This is going to be awful. The question is, how do you get rid of this? Player removal? It's probably the answer. Could use a Stoneforge Mystic. That way we can get an equipment from our hand into play. Warren Power Stone into the Dovescape. We're into a weird spot now. This Dovescape is going to be an issue, I think. Inventor's Fair will gain a life. Well, there's a Cleansing Nova, but we can't stop the Dovescape. Cast Syr Gwyn. Ooh, so expensive. Sack a treasure. Free equip. Free equip. Start attacking. We're going to get blasted by birds in the air. Probably going to cast a Sigarda's Aid just to have a flying blocker. Swing into Mock. We draw a card and lose a life. It's an under end. Yep, that would also kill a Dovescape if we could cast it. So they take a hit for 5. We're going to be on a very slow clock here. Well, I guess, Korvath gives us flying. We'll think about Korvath next turn. So Sigarda's Aid into the Dovescape. Gonna need a creature that kills enchantments is where we need to be right now. We get another treasure token. Opponent's gonna get a counter on their Mathas, sure. Yeah, I see Dovescape being pretty good in that deck, because you stop all the removal. I mean, generally the worst things you normally expect are the non-creatures. There's a few nasty green creatures, especially some green ones, but yeah, Dovescape shuts off the board wipes, and that's a big part of the game. Your opponent can bounce our tokens, too. That's also not amazing. Mathas going to put a counter on one of the birds, sure. No, they're Smothering Tithe. Yep, opponent sending the team our way, all right. This is going to hurt. They're going to bounce our token. This is unfortunate. I was hoping to block some of that damage. We're lucky Kangee isn't working. If they just cast Kangee right there, we're just dead. Opponent's got Spires. Well, we can still draw a card. Light and Shadow's going to hit. No targets, but they'll gain 3 life. Migratory Route. It's going to counter and make more birds. Makes more birds off the Dovescape than it would naturally. That's a lot of flying damage. Inventor's Fair triggers, brings it back to our turn. We draw a land, play the land. I think I'm just on Korvath right here. We get a partner trigger. We go no. Move the Swiftfoot Boots over to Korvath. This is just so we can get an extra card draw. Thinking I'm going to hold on to the other end. That way opponents can they'll miss attack a little bit. They'll miscalculate how much they need to attack with. So Syr Gwyn into Mock, Korvath into Mathas. So we'll get 2 draw triggers. There's a land. Kind of wish I played that land instead of the plains. And another land. Gross. Opponent's going to Spires our Syr Gwyn. Yep. Opponent takes 3. We'll move the boots back to Syr Gwyn. And we'll pass the turn. Opponent's going to flash in a Thrix. It's got flash and flying. Flying's super relevant right now. Whenever you cast converted mana cost 5 or greater, it costs 1 less to cast and can't be countered. Well, ooh. If you cast spells you cast with converted mana. Wow. So that can get them past the Dovescape. Okay. Smothering Tithe will trigger. Here comes a Fertilid. Opponent's going to activate the Fertilid. Alright, so it seems like they might be stuck. Activates Fertilid once again. Fertilid goes down. So just trying to ramp, set themselves up for probably next turn. It's going to be a lot to ask. Gonna be a lot to ask. Smothering Tithe trigger. Up to 5 treasures. With the land, we can actually utter and cycle the desert. There's a Day of Judgment into the Dovescape. Yep, makes me sad. Wow, opponent's got nothing else. Just tapped up all their mana and passed. That doesn't make sense right there. So, like, they can hold up mana to regenerate on the ring. Pongify into the Dovescape. It's a lot of birds. Also, I mean, like, yeah, they could have used that mana. They could pump Mathas, regenerate it, and just swing into the birds. And, you know, potentially kill 1 or 2. Puts another bounty counter on the bird. Opponent gives us another treasure. Up to 6. Let's see if they just send everything our way. That we can't do anything about. But they've got to be a little bit nervous about the other players, though. Oh, they're going to go everything into fish. All right. Okay. Nervous about the elementals. Yeah, elementals plus mana is good. See what Fish has got. Assumingly something that just turns into birds, but... Return of Wild Speaker. Wow, that's an instant? It can't be countered. Interesting. So do they get the birds and the draw? They get the birds. Yeah, wow, they get the birds and the draw. That is very good. Well, there's going to be some things getting tangled up right here. So yeah, Thrix with Dovescape is pretty cool. Unfortunately, you can't run Thrix as your commander and have Dovescape in the deck. You have to go the other way around, build a deck that finds the Thrix and has blue-white in it. Also, we get a bunch... Ooh, yeah, we get a bunch of treasures. Sweet. Up to 10 treasures. Oh, people are saying... opponents saying that if you run Tygam with Dovescape, it's a pretty cool effect. Yeah, that's pretty spicy. Okay, so opponent's going to block some of the ones with bounty counters on them. Yeah, down for that. All right, here come the blocks. Whew. Fish goes down to 13. That's still a very sizable hit. 2 of the birds with bounty counters dies, so we'll get to draw 2 cards and gain 4 life. Fish will as well. And Sword of Light and Shadow will trigger. Opponent's going to gain 3 life. No birds in the graveyard. We draw an Ugin. Ugin's potentially interesting. I mean, it just turns into more birds. Don't know how much that helps us in this exact second. Oh, yep, and we're getting more treasures. Sweet. Another land. Okay. Definitely going to have to get rid of some lands here. And opponent's going to gain that 3 life. Inventor's Fair is going to trigger. We're going to gain another life. Yeah. Gain a decent amount of life off of that. Mirroring Crusade. Ooh, that's flying, double strike, and blocking. Yeah, okay. We're going to have to leave Korvath back this turn. First thing, I guess, play the Scry Temple. Take a look at what's on top. It's a plains, don't need that. Put that to the bottom. Attack with Syr Gwyn. We get to draw a card to lose a life. Yeah, it's another land, not great. Hitting all the lands now. Don't need the lands right now. Just need things we can cast and make large amounts of birds. I wish I didn't move the boots last turn. Getting the extra card with Korvath I don't think was worth it. I think getting the combat damage in would have been better. This will put opponent to 10 commander. They'd be on 15 if we didn't move the boots around last turn. So opponent goes to 10 commander. Let's cycle this desert. Oh, another land. 3 lands. Ouch. Play Mirroring Crusader. Play Ugin. Dovescape will trigger. We'll get a bunch of tokens. So that's 6 tokens. We have a bunch of blockers. Do we play another spell? That one's got double strike. Yeah, I think just to be safe, I'm going to play the Cleansing Nova. And then we can sit on the Utter End. Yeah, seems fine. And we'll keep the Utter End, Austere Command, try to hold those up as long as possible. Should Wispmare show up for Fish and actually get rid of this Dovescape. And I had some hesitation about burning the Cleansing Nova also. Having 2 board wipes would be pretty good, but I think it just makes sense to have a lot of blockers right now. Because right now we have enough blockers that, like, they would lose a bunch of these 3/3s. That's a Bane of Progress. Huh. Okay. Artifacts and enchantments, you say. Smothering Tide's gonna go down. We should just float all the mana. Opponent's gonna regenerate their creature, yeah. What are we gonna Utter End? Probably the Bane of Progress. It's gonna be huge. Well, I guess we can make that decision once it resolves. We'll make it a little bit smaller by sacrificing the artifacts. Bane of Progress coming in. Gonna get rid of that Dovescape. Artifacts and enchantments go down. It's a 17/17. Oh my. I mean, it's a good thing we cast all the birds. We're actually in a decent position now. Our stuff still has flying, but now removal is on the table. That's a Flamekin Harbinger. Oh yeah, that can get some things. The Bane of Progress is... Oh, it's got Trample. Whew. I mean, maybe we Utter End on the Spires? Oh, I wish Buried Ruin was untapped. Embodiment of Spring. Sacrifice it, search your library for basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Ooh, yeah. I think I'm going to Utter End the Spires. Oh, nope, non-land. Non-land. Or do we save it? I think it's too dangerous. I think it is too dangerous. And we'll let the rest of the mana go. Overwhelming Forces. Who's getting it? Going at the birds. Opponent's going to overload a Cyclonic Rift. So that's going to keep Mathas from drawing like crazy. We're also going to get bounced. Oh, that hurts so much. So much. Does playing an Austere Command on these matter? That was interesting. So they did that to deny the card draw. I mean, I guess they, I guess we had a lot of stuff too, so. Lost a lot of good cards in them tokens. Alright, yeah, guess that does make sense. See if Mockfire's holding a board wipe. I don't think they are. I think they had 0 cards in hand at one point. They passed their turn. Rift? Brings back to our turn. If we play land, we'll have 9 mana. We could go Korvath and Mirren Crusader. Or do we Austere Command? That one gets lands. That one's not terribly scary. That's the only one that's really kind of a problem. Yeah, the trample one's okay. Yeah, I think I'm on get creatures. So play the mountain. Get Korvath. No vigilance currently. It's a thing. I'll take the shuffle. We've been drawing lands. Let's get Mirren Crusader into play. Oh, disappointing. They've got haste, but I just don't think it's worth going anywhere at this moment. We're at 18. Yeah, we need a block. We do need to block. Double Strike Pro Green at least keeps the Thicket Crasher away. If they want to send the blue one, we don't have great answers for that. Also getting to a point where I think we need Sunforger pretty badly. Nope, that's a Lord of Extinction. Oh my god, it's huge. Please don't give it haste. Opponent did grab an Omnath, Locus of the Royal with the Flamekin Harbinger. Alright. There comes the Omnath. Okay. I mean, if Korvath goes down, then we're wiping the board. Opponent's going to shoot our face. Well, that's not going to feel good. Ouch. Down to 12. Getting down there. Yep. Opponent's just sacrifice the Embodiment of Spring, get more lands. The lands are becoming an issue. Another Omnath trigger. This one's going to put a +1/+1 counter. And then they draw a card. All available attackers into the birds. Nope, changing their mind. All available attackers into Mathas. Yeah, Mathas is probably not too happy with them over the Overwhelming Forces play. Because they were going to draw like 30. Mathas back to play. Mathas trigger on the Lord of Extinction. Yeah, that's going to have to go. Soul Ring. Oh, Mockfire did F6 through their last turn. Which is why they didn't play anything. There's Commander Isha back to play. Thran Dynamo. And Murder of Crows. Well, we'll probably get a bunch of things with the Murder of Crows if we lay down the Austere Command, or at least they'll be able to filter to a card they like. Oh, another land. Why the lands? Drawing all the lands late. Okay, so I think that just puts us on Austere Command. It would not be lethal if we cast Syr Gwyn right here, by the way. It'd be 12 damage, they'd survive. So, both in the fish. Play the Austere Command, go all creatures. If this resolves, I'm not completely confident that it will, but if it does, we'll get a bunch of card draw. We'll get 3 extra cards, gain 6 life. Opponent's going to Boros Charm their Mathas, I'm fine with that. Boom! Board getting blown up, whole bunch of triggers, Murder of Crow triggers many times. And then we'll get to draw from the Mathas Bounty triggers. Problem here is that we're still going to feel the reanimation power of Horde of Notions, I think. All we've really done is slow them down. Horde of Notions is on like 7 or 9, though, so I think they've probably got like 1 activation after that. But still, if that 1 activation is Lord of Extinction, it's pretty good. I don't know that what we can draw here that matters. Swords or Path. Don't know if we've used all of them. Opponent discards. Favorable wins. Land. It was a Core Haven. Mana Drain. Mirror Entity. Joyra's Familiar. Is that a bird? And then we get to draw some cards and gain some life. You guys ready for 2 more lands? D-Spark actually matters. Okay. And a Bastion Protector. Ooh, choices. I think I'm better off holding up the D-Spark, right? So now's probably the turn to get Myriad Landscape in. Yeah, we'll hold up D-Spark, and if we don't need that, then maybe Buried Ruin on Swiftfoot Boots. Potentially Trailblazer's Boots also. Both are good. That's an Entomb. Okay, yeah, this is why we're holding up a D-Spark. Opponent puts... Ooh, Multani. Yeah, that's why we're holding up a D-Spark. That is why indeed. You can play a Once Upon a Time. Top 5 cards of the library reveal a creature or land, put them into the hand, rest in the bottom. Yeah, right now we're 4 lands behind the turn counter, which is not great. Turn 14, 10 lands. Those 4 that we missed really hurt, and I've been thinking more and more about it. You really need a land tax, Gift of Estates, Thaumatic Compass in this deck. You probably want 2 of them, because you really just don't want to miss your lands. Yep, here comes Omnath, Locus of Rage. Ooh. This now presents a problem of there are going to be multiple targets that we need to exile. Well, hopefully Mathas has an answer to one or more of these. There's an Unburial Rites on Lord of Extinction. Cool. Oh, the reanimation. Hope Mathas has removal. What is this? This is a landfall thing? Okay. No lands yet. They're down to one card in hand. Hopefully we can skip that landfall trigger for a turn. Nope, there's the landfall trigger. Cool. Makes a 5/5. Lord of Extinction now a 52/52. And they've got that Multani ability. Oh, it's Evolving Wilds, of course. Another one. Oh yeah, and then with the Multani, they can return the lands and then have more lands to play. Gross. Yep, gonna use Multani. Bounces 2 lands. Opponent says they do have removal. Okay. Thrill of Possibility, they're going to discard a card and draw 2 cards. Okay. Oh, Divine Reckoning, you say? That means we're probably going to take some damage to the face. Oh, that's going to be 15. Do I want to use a D-Spark on an Omnath? See if they go other places. So it's 3 damage? Okay, no, it's 9 damage. Okay. Yeah, we're just going to chill. All right, so they're going to keep the Omnath. It's still probably going to be 6 damage to a target, though. Oh, nope, it's going to be 9 damage to a target. Don't know if they have spot removal, but I might have gone spot removal for... Okay, they're going to use 1 on Omnath. That's 1 not going to us. Or 1 on Mathas, rather. 2 to the face of the Mathas player, yeah. They've just got tons and tons of removal. Oh, they should have did that the other way. So they mortified the Omnath. But should have gone the other way with those triggers. Yep. And then they're good at the Fairies Protect. Okay, I guess they've got it covered. Burning all them cards, why not? Things are going to get a little awkward for us mana-wise, I think. Do a little mana count. We'll be on 11 mana next turn. Let's see. Oh, no, is that exactly enough to get Syr Gwyn plus Bastion Protector is 9, plus 2 more is D-Spark? Okay, we can get all that done. Cool. And then the following turn, probably look at something to get back with the Buried Ruin. While opponent's tapped out, we could also go, like, Buried Ruin, get the... Ooh, maybe we Buried Ruin this turn. Yeah, maybe that's what we do. So we Buried Ruin at the end step, get back Boots, probably. But Trailblazers are also tempting, because then opponent can't block, and that's a pretty big deal. Yeah, both have their merits. There is a Spires over here, so at some point we're going to need to think about the Swiftfoot Boots. So maybe I'm on Swiftfoot Boots. Oh, here's the thing I didn't think about. This gives... Yeah, this gives Syr Gwyn +2/+2, which makes it a 7. And that puts opponent really low. We've still got Inventor's Fair. We're not going to have enough mana to use Inventor's Fair and, like, go get something, I don't think. So we could go Boots and then hope for an equipment off the top that finishes it. Now, if we sacrifice the Buried Ruin, we won't have enough to go Syr Gwyn, D-Spark, Bastion Protector unless we catch a Mana Rock off the top. Here comes Kangee into play. Mana Crypt for opponent. And a True Conviction. What's up? Alright, use the Buried Ruin, get back the Swiftfoot Boots. A Mana Geyser would be sweet. There's no Mana Geyser in this deck. See what we draw off the top. Swords to Plowshares. That's something that can keep us alive. Excellent. Okay. Play the Swamp. Cast Syr Gwyn. Do we use the Myriad Landscape and give up on cracking the Myriad Landscape? Probably. Want to leave up all that white and black mana for the D-Spark and the swords. Although, ooh, we're going to be on only swords this turn if we go for the boots. I think it's worth it, though. Play the boots. Oh, nope, we can leave up D-Spark, too. Okay. Equip 0. Forgot about the equip 0. So we don't have both at this moment, but can choose between D-Spark or swords. Swing into fish. Draw a card, lose a life. Down to 5. It's a land. Gross. All right, pass the turn. See what happens. This is going to be an interesting turn cycle. Especially we know fish has stuff. They've got an Unburial Rites. Their commander reanimates stuff. They've got Multani in hand. They've got lands in hand for the Omnath. Here comes Multani into play. Yep, reach and trample, and going to be very large. Oh, I forgot. We've got Rogue's Passage in play, so getting the Swiftfoot Boots, I think, was the correct call right here, because we can just make Gwyn unblockable. Opponent's going to go for the Lord of Extinction. Nice. Lord of Extinction, not as threatening. Omnath is the scary one, because multiple triggers kill us, so... Deathrite Shaman, yeah. Fish says, I am female, hear me roar. And then says, in quotes, I can't even. Oh, that's funny. I don't know if I'm going to have to edit that out or not. Fish, did someone cast a Voidwind Aura on you? Shadows of the Past. Whenever a creature dies, scry 1. Pay 5. Each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. Activate this only if there are 4 or more creatures in your graveyard. Let's find out if that is the case. No. I think 0 creatures in their graveyard. Okay. But if things die, they get to scry. That's cool. Mathas trigger at the end step. See who's getting it. Gonna put it on the Lord of Extinction. Yeah, it's pretty big. It is pretty big. Opponent just gonna tap out and pass. Looks like they are out of tricks. Mana Crypt flip on the birds. They're currently 1 short of being able to kill the Elementals player. But any sort of pump effect on Kangee would get them there. Actually, no, never mind. Multani has reach. Always forget about the reach. So they would need some sort of unblockable. A Feast and Famine would do it. Despark is a card I always kind of go back and forth on, and right now is looking pretty good. You know, we're late in the game, so all the big stuff is out. And yeah, there's plenty of legit targets for Despark. It's early in the game, or in like maybe a faster setting where everyone's curve is very low, that Despark might be not the best. But I do feel like majority of the time there's going to be something 4 or greater worth shooting. Opponent going to swing in with the Kangee. Hope they didn't forget about the reach on Multani. Okay, they're going to Generous Gift the Multani. That works. They've got it played. Still going to put them to 1. I would love to not have to, like, spend all the mana to Rogue's Passage Syr Gwyn over that way. Feast and Famine is down. The white creature still blocks. We would need Sinew and Steel. Yeah, Sinew and Steel would get us by. Opponent's down to 1. And they pass like that. Well, looks like we're on the Rogue's Passage thing then. Pure Steel Paladin, no equipments to cast. So, like, if we didn't kill fish, then everyone else has to deal with them. The Omnath in the graveyard is still a problem, though, so I think we just do that. Also, this game is getting really long. Like, really, really long. I only have 1 black card to cast, so we can use some black mana right here. Leave up 1 black for Despark. No red things to cast. Go to combat. Swing into fish. Get a draw. Hope this does it. Hope they don't have anything. It's a Chromatic Lantern. Ramp and color fixing. We badly need both. Opponent has a Divine Reckoning in their graveyard. Makes me think twice about just laying down all of our creatures right here. So fish finally goes down. Turn 16. We've finally eliminated a player. We've got a land play left. Still a lot of white cards in hand. I guess play a plains. Next question is, would like to crack this Myriad Landscape. That would be nice. Definitely want to leave up Despark, Swords if we can. Let's get the Chromatic Lantern in. Ramp. We've badly been needing ramp all game, so... and that leaves us enough to cast Swords and crack the Myriad Landscape. Seems like a good place to be. We'll pass like that. Opponent's noticing my full hand. Yeah, it's going to be good for us. Opponent's going through the, they should have killed me when they had the chance. I mean, I don't think it was for lack of trying. The birds came in pretty hard on that one turn. They took a big swing into fish, and I think that was correct at that point in time. Also, they didn't know this, but we had an instant speed thing to block a bunch. I think their decision-making was correct at that point in time, but yeah, it's just late now. We've got a full hand, so, you know, that'll come back to bite you sometimes. Opponent going to swing in with the Mathas. Yup. Just going to let that hit. Down to 11 we go. Now's the time to start thinking about cracking that Inventor's Fair. Sunforger's in the deck. Probably want a Sunforger. Oh, there's no Teferi's Protection in this deck. That changes my mind. There's a comeuppance, though. Opponent's got nothing going on in the Mathas, so they're going to tap out and pass. Puts a counter on the Kangee. Oop, Aven Mind Sensor at the end step. Okay. We'll need to shoot that before we can crack Inventor's Fair. Probably going to Despark on the True Conviction, especially if opponent comes our way. Ooh, I am foreseeing a problem, though, if opponents just focus us down. Yep, here they come. Alright, Despark the True Conviction. Do we Swords the Aven? Ooh. We know we need to get rid of it if we want to Inventor's Fair. Yes, we Swords the Aven. Because we probably need to crack this Inventor's Fair, so I want to leave myself the option to do that. Opponent's going to get us for 2. I mean, the life gain on this Inventor's Fair has been relevant. Oh, do we have enough to gain life? I think we're an artifact short. Ugh. But we've gained at least 5. So being at 4 would be very scary. Supreme Verdict. Gross. Okay. Kangee back to play. We drew a land. Eugh. Not amazing. Not amazing. Choices. Could go Pure Steel Paladin. Let's just assume we crack the Inventor's Fair. That'd be 5 mana. That would leave us... So we could cast... Yeah, we could cast a Sunforger, draw a card with the Pure Steel Paladin, get a free equip, and then that would leave us exactly enough to get 1 activation of Sunforger. That feels like a plan. So, cast the Pure Steel Paladin. Oh, we need to have Metalcraft. We don't have Metalcraft. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Oops. That's a big deal. Alright, probably just cast Syr Gwyn then. Cast Syr Gwyn. Free equip Syr Gwyn. Go to combat. I forgot that you need Metalcraft to search for an artifact. Keep working on the birds. We've got 10 commander damage on them. Draw a card, lose a life. Oh, it's getting scary. Wow, another land. At least I can draw. We can crack that to draw another card. Probably what I'll end up doing. 15 commander on the birds. Play a plains, make them think we've got a swords or a path. Pass the turn. A walking atlas somewhere along the way would have been cool, just to dump these lands out. Whew. I know terrain generator, but terrain generator only gets basics, and it's kind of a lot of mana, honestly, to keep doing that. So only really works, in my opinion, if you've got a feast and famine somewhere. That's kind of the thing that gives you enough mana to really kind of go wild with the terrain generator, but I prefer walking atlas. Oh, blasphemous act. Okay. Opponent's going to get to scry once? Yeah, they get 1 scry. The Pure Steel Paladin. Pure Steel goes down. Could have used that card draw. Thought it was going to be the Divine Reckoning, but yeah, they went for the Blasphemous Act first. Recast Mathas. That's actually going to be a problem. The Menace is going to be a thing, especially with the Divine Reckoning in their graveyard. Couple hits away. We need more life gain. We do have a Warhammer in the deck. No Shadow Spear. She hasn't updated this deck since Shadow Spear came out, so. No Heliod's Intervention either. The life gain on Heliod's Intervention would actually be reasonable in this moment. Mana Crypt Flip on opponent. Ooh, Judge's Familiar. That could be annoying. Make it harder to cast in equipment. Oh, it's instant and sorceries. Okay, okay. Recast Kangee. Unfortunately, the kicker not working, so they just can't kick it on Magic Online. Flying damage, also a problem for us. Oh, another land. Are you kidding me? Oh, man, the lands. Opponent's got enough blockers, although we can, if we swing in, they might block. Yep, seems good enough to me. Recast Syr Gwyn. Free equip. What are the chances that there's a Colossus Hammer on top of our deck? Actually, no, we wouldn't even be able to cast it. Swing into the birds. So let's assume we survive and that Syr Gwyn survives. How much damage is on board? That's 5. There's 6 damage. Ooh, puts us at 1. It's not great. With all that being the case, if we cast Bastion Protector, 7 puts us exactly at 22. So, yeah, maybe we start on Mathas then. Draw a card, lose a life. Ooh, it's a Boros Charm. Okay. That is a reasonable card. Oh, I wish I played the land. Well, I guess that doesn't help us that much right here, but we are going to have a situation about figuring out how to not die to the draw trigger, I think. So opponent takes a hit for 5, 5 commander. Play the Sunbaked Canyon. We should be able to tap this. Yeah, okay, we can tap without losing life. And if we don't need Boros Charm, then we can draw the card. Harvester of Souls, that's a card. Relevant, also a second blocker. Opponent just going to tap it out. Yep. Ooh, opponent going to swing into the birds. Okay, okay. That is good news for us. Oh, opponent can Judge's Familiar our Boros Charm. We're going to need to keep that in mind. Opponent takes a small hit. Mathas trigger. Put it on the Judge's Familiar, right? Yeah, Judge's Familiar. I would take a card and 2 life in this moment. Mana Crypt Flip on them. Warden of Evo's Isle. Creatures with flying cost 1 less. At this point, it's just kind of a race for bodies. Wherever we can get bodies into play is going to be ahead. Opponent's still coming our way. This is going to be a hit for 3. Not taking that Mathas hit is a pretty big deal, though. But the Mathas might still have got... So we need Bastion Protector to stick. Destroy the rest so we can Boros Charm against Divine Reckoning. That's important. Down to 4. Getting down there. Getting down there. Do we Sunbake Canyon? Yeah, we Sunbake Canyon right here. Crack the Sunbake Canyon. Draw a card. Ooh, lifelink. It's got lifelink. Oh, lifelink is a really big deal right now. Where can we swing it into? Well, this is going to be tricky. All right, let's untap. Let's get our next draw. Wow. At least it's a cycle land. At least it's a cycle land. Or and equipments cost a 1 less. So if we go Bastion Protector, we can't haste Denitha. But what we can do is cast it afterwards, and then it gives us enough blockers against Mathas, especially if we hold up Boros Charm. Okay, I think that's the plan. So, Bastion Protector. Oh, make sure we've got enough. This is going to be tight on mana. So we need 4. So that activates Rogue's Passage. This gets us Denitha, and then we've got enough for Boros Charm and 1 left over. Okay. Activate Rogue's Passage on Syr Gwyn. Attack Mockfire. Hope this gets rid of him. Oh, we draw a card and we lose a life. It's a Selfless Spirit. That's actually pretty helpful. Mockfire goes down. The birds go down. Oh, we've got a shot. It's going to be dicey, though. Burn Spell. It's real bad news for us. If opponent has a Boros Charm, they already used it, but if they get it back somehow, 4 damage to a player, it would kill us. Okay, what do we do next? We need to get the Denitha into play. So play a Plains, cast Denitha, leave up Boros Charm, crack Myriad Landscape if we don't need to. I guess we can also cycle the land. Gets a lot easier to crack Myriad Landscape when Feast and Famine is around, but Feast and Famine got exiled long ago. Opponent's gonna revoke existence on our boots. We do not have an answer for that. Boots down. If we double striked Syr Gwyn and made it unblockable, that would only be 19 commander damage, so we need a little bit more juice. Divine Reckoning, still destroy, right? That's a destroy. Play the Boros Charm. Permanents we control gain indestructible. Does opponent sacrifice their commander and keep Harvester of Souls right here? I might. Choose Syr Gwyn. Yeah, okay, so they keep the Harvester of Souls. That makes sense. That's a pretty good card. Wayfarer's Bauble is their last card. We're okay for a moment, but we don't have a way to kill them this turn. So they'll probably get another crack at it. Crack the Wayfarer's Bauble. Yep, get a land. Well, we got to watch out for that Shadows of the Past thing. Okay, still no creatures in graveyard. Yeah, maybe that... They said they wanted to make a bunch of changes to their deck, maybe about 10 minutes ago, and probably just having more creatures in the deck going to be a good idea, I think. Our things are still indestructible, so no attacks from them. Oh, Ghost Quarter. No, we don't need more lands. Don't even have an equipment now to draw anymore, so I guess we cycle this desert. Sword of Sinew and Steel is a real card right now. Oh, we don't have the double strike anymore. Okay, well, that's okay. That is okay. Ooh. So we can put it on Syr Gwyn, and that's 9 commander, which would put him pretty high. Oh, they can't block Syr Gwyn. That's cool. I'm going to go with Denitha because our life total is so low. And that life gain seems really relevant. So, cast Sword of Sinew Steel. Ooh, it's got cost reduction on it. Free equip to Denitha. Play Selfless Spirit just in case. Do some attacking. A sword finally showing up. Whew. Swing in with these two. We'll draw 1 card and lose 1 life. It's a Reforge the Soul. That's tricky. Definitely not going to play that this turn. Don't want to give opponents 7 fresh cards. Sword of Sinew and Steel will trigger. No legal targets. But we do gain a massive 4 life, putting us to what feels like an incredibly healthy 6. Then I guess Ghost Quarter just in case. Finally crack this Myriad Landscape. Let's grab 2 plains. A lot of basics in this deck. I would rework the mana base a little bit. The colors are pretty tough in this deck, to be completely honest. Pass a turn like that, we just gotta hope they don't draw something huge. Thran Dynamo, I think we're in the clear. I think we are in the clear. This 20-turn grinder, I think it's gonna come to an end. Mathas back to play. Opponent tapping out. Mathas end step bounty counter. Probably the Selfless Spirit. No, it goes for the Bastion Protector. It's fair. Ooh, Savine's Reclamation. I don't think we actually need it for anything. Would have been nice earlier in this game. Play the land. Move the sword. So that's 9. Yeah, that should be exactly 21 commander. Send in Syr Gwyn. Draw a card, lose a life. Yeah, oh, that's Athalia's Lancers. Where were they? Oh, man. So many things we could go grab. That would be awesome. There it is. 21 turns. Oh, my. 47 cards left in our deck. Oh, Argentum Armor was our next card, of course. Would have been nice somewhere in this game. Oh, my. Opponent had a Massacre Worm and Moonlit Wake. Oh, I think they were out of cards, so those would have been their next cards. Massacre Worm relevant. Massacre Worm very relevant. Yeah, that probably would have killed us, actually. Wow. Okay, so Syr Gwyn, Hero of Ashvale by Kristen, my podcast co-host. So I like the increased creature count. Got 16 in this build. Assuming that I copied everything over correctly, 16 creatures. I might still try and go one higher on my next build. Probably just for like a Dockside Extortionist. The other one that wouldn't be awful is Treasure Nabber, because Syr Gwyn's so expensive. So if you can steal your opponent's mana periodically, that's probably a great place to be. What else? There's an incredible lack of equipment tutors, so no Steel Shaper's Gift, no Open the Armory, not even a Stonehewer Giant. So those are kind of the big things that I like to go for. And so with her build, and she talked about this in one of her articles, I'll link that article, I'm kind of leaving mental design space. So like, because she had this deck in paper and she already had like multiple equipment decks, it made sense for her to not just run all the same stuff that she runs in every single deck. So this deck was trying to be, I don't want to say off meta, but trying to not use the same exact equipment cards that you use in every single deck. One, because number of copies is a concern in paper, and two, just to like spice it up and make it a little bit more interesting to yourself. And so, it's not that her choices are bad. It's just that she chose to go with more knights than anything. Maybe use some equipment. There's a Godsend in here. She's talked about it being pretty good. I haven't played with it enough to really make a judgment on that one way or the other. But just kind of changing up some of the choices just a little bit so that you're not running out the exact same deck. There's no Aurelia and no Godo in the 6th slot. Those are two that I would definitely add. Again, more equipment tutors would be really good, I think. At least, in terms of increasing the power anyway. I totally get the exercise that she was doing, and making this deck unique from her other decks is a thing. I have like 12 decks in my bag, and like 8 of them do the same thing. Play your commander, put equipment on your commander, watch awesome things happen. But anyway, yeah, I do like the increased creature count. A big thing that I did notice was missing Gift of Estates, land tax type stuff. We missed like 4 land drops through the early and mid parts, and I'm counting turns 5 through 10, give or take. And that did bite us. That was becoming a problem. We were just kind of chasing everyone all game mana-wise. Even a single land tax trigger, a single Gift of Estates would have been a big deal. And I think it's so important in this deck. We almost didn't get Syr Gwyn at all, because if we didn't catch a land, we luckily top-decked a few lands right when we needed them. But if we miss on those, then we would have been stuck not doing much for a little while. So I think definitely a Dockside Extortionist, more mana production, always good. D-Spark, surprisingly handy. One that I'm going to need to think about. For this slot with Sunforger, I think you've got a choice between D-Spark, Rakdos Charm, and Kaya's Guile, all of which do very good things. Just a matter of which one you want more than the others. With the Utter End, as good as Utter End is, I did notice that I wanted to shoot that Spires at one point, and it does not hit non-lands where Generous Gift and Chaos Warp do. That's a thing to consider. We do have Anguished Unmaking, which also misses lands, so that can be relevant against Glacial Chasms and stuff like that. Divine Reckoning is interesting. It's not a card that I typically care for, but I think it does make sense in this deck. I also want to try out Single Combat, which is right here. Similar effect, each player chooses one creature or planeswalker they control, sacrifices the rest. Then, players can't cast creatures or planeswalker spells until the end of our next turn. Looks pretty interesting. Also, it's like 25 cents, so really good if you're working on a budget. All is Dust would have been nice up here. It's expensive. It's big and expensive, and I get that, but there were some enchantments that needed to get blown up along the way, and it leaves your artifacts alone, which is cool. Oh, what else did I see? Lack of value early. That was actually the biggest thing. So we weren't generating the value early in the way that I would have hoped. A thaumatic compass, a dowsing dagger early to get some ramp over here. Probably the two biggest things that I was looking at. Another thing that I've been thinking about with this deck is maybe adding another planeswalker or two. We've got Nihiri, the Lithomancer, in the deck. Very good. Love it to get some equipments back. Thinking also maybe like a Chandra Torch of Defiance, since Chandra just does a lot of good things. And also maybe a Duretti. Duretti gets equipments back and just kind of loots. You can kind of filter your hand a little bit, which is nice. Also, it ticks up, has decent loyalty, so like people just get distracted by it and they deal with that for a little while. Will gain you a lot of life if it sticks in play for a while just by things attacking that and not you. Other than that, I feel like the choices are pretty good. I think it's just a matter of I wanted to see maybe another equipment tutor of some kind. Maybe a combo. There's actually no combos in this deck, so like maybe having one combo finish in the deck, whether that's Godo Helm or Feast and Famine Aggravated Assault, just in case. Like that game got really, really long. And so having some option to try and close it out. And then a lot of it just comes down to the ramping and the value and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, all in all, I like the deck. Again, I like the choices. To me, it just felt like a few things were missing that I rely on very heavily, and that's the equipment tutors. So if we could have tutored for a Sword of the Animus somewhere early in this game, oh man, would have been a very different game, I think. Also, I think the lifelink is relevant too, so maybe adding Shadow Spear to this deck, because you do burn your life down kind of slowly with Syr Gwyn. If people are putting pressure on you, there's a lot of flying this game. That was starting to become an issue, so having ways to gain that life back, going to be a good idea. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.